It's easy to be a great mom and a great wife and a great sister and a great friend and all of the things when life is easy and good. The real question, and we really got to dig deep when life is really at rock bottom and sort of falling apart. That's the big question. Well, who are we going to be here?
This is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
And I knew that, like I said, I knew that the boys would follow my lead, and I knew that I had to decide who I was going to be. I couldn't change what was going to happen, but I could change how it was going to happen until he passed. And that's when I really gained my power back, was really choosing who I was going to be and choosing how our home was going to be and what I was going to teach the boys in their first experience of something really, really hard.
Yeah, I mean,
Really
I think
hard.
that's important what you said too. You can't change what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You can change how it's going to happen and how it's going to affect you.
Mm-hmm. Well, and who I was going to be while it was going on, who I was going to be during and after, for my kids, who I was going to be for my husband while it was going on.
But it's a great metaphor for a roadmap for a happier life. We all know we're born, we die. We all know that. That's a given. What you do in between those goalposts, that's going to make the difference of whether you're just going to worry about your death. And then there's plenty of people out there that all they do is worry about death. Or you're going to live.
Yeah.
You're going to live.
Yeah. And that's a choice. And I think for me, teaching my kids that there is life after death, some people really think, well, I'm honoring my husband by, really being sad and really grieving and mourning their death and just being not living. I don't agree with that. I believe that my job is to show my children that there's life after death, to honor my husband's life by living my life and continuing to live a life. I remember when he was diagnosed, he said to me, we were going to a baseball game when we were driving, and he says, this was before we thought it was Lyme disease. So we were told the first time it's ALS, and we're driving, and he says, I don't ever want you to get married. And I said, wow, I'm only 40. I don't even know what I was.
You should have
at the time,
told me that
like
right
40.
before the wedding.
I was like, oh, wow. I go, I'm only like 47 years old. I go,
Contract says death do us part.
Exactly, right. I go, don't you think that's a little selfish? And he said the sweetest thing. He said, yes, I do. He said, I think you should date and you should have a boyfriend, but I don't ever want you to get married because who will you go to when you come to heaven? I want you to come to me. And I thought, oh, you are just so adorable.
All right. Well, hold that
End
thought
it right there.
Drew, I'm gonna hold that because I'm gonna write that down if I'm ever on my deathbed. Okay, you're never allowed to marry.
Kevin and Mike are throwing up now.
I told you I had a Slim Jim before, and it's still repeating on me. But the one story that you told us about Kevin that really epitomizes who Kevin was when
Usually it's we have 15 mics in here. Now we got two Kevins that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I think the triplets had a championship baseball game, and your younger son just had
I know exactly the story you're talking about. It was a beautiful story, if you want me to share.
Absolutely.
As I said, 3 of the boys are triplets, and they played on a tri-borough baseball team together. And at the end of the season, there's a all-star team that's made up of a few of the teams. 2 of the boys made it and 1 didn't. And as a parent, it's just heartbreaking, and you feel so bad, and you want to be excited for the 2 that made it, but you want to be,
you don't want to rub it in their face.
Well, yeah, you want to be thoughtful.
You're good. You 2 are good, but you suck.
Yeah, it was, balancing things like that. We're always, we did pretty good at it, but it was certainly a dance. Anyway, the day of the game came. And wouldn't you know it, our son who didn't make the All-Star team would play in a consolation. All the kids who didn't make the All-Star would play in a consolation game. So don't you know, the day comes and the consolation game and the All-Star game are in 2 different fields at the same time, same day. So Kevin he loved good sports. He loved watching athletics and really good athletes play, whatever they were playing. So he came home quickly, as he always did, never wanted to miss the boys in anything they were doing. And he was jumped in the shower, and I made the comment about us going to the All-Star game. Like, oh, come on, whatever I said. And he quickly corrected me and said, oh, no, I'm not going to the All-Star game. No, I'm going to the consolation game. I never want to send the message to any of the boys that they're less than or not as important because, or the game they're playing in is less important because they're not on the All-Star team. We're going to go to his game. And I was like, oh my gosh, how, as a mother, you think you're the one that's so compassionate and thinking about, and I thought, how could I have missed that? And thank God he's such a beautiful person. And what a wonderful opportunity. He nailed it. I mean, he nailed it. And
Speaks a lot to his character.
it really
But
does.
but you know what? One drawback, Kevin, like you said, he loved good sports.
yeah.
He was a Jets fan.
Oh my God. Well, I can't.
I'll give you one worse than that. He's a Red,
Red
Sox,
Sox
fan.
fan.
I mean, not for me, but for most people.
Well, we just had a Red Sox player in here last week.
Okay.
So,
But like you said, he was a Red Sox fan, but died of a Yankee disease.
yes.
Yeah.
So,
You can't make it up.
I can't knock the Jets. Our good friend Pastor Adam Bird, he's the chaplain for the Jets. So
Oh.
I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm a Jets fan adjacent. So they're different divisions. But you, getting back to what I said earlier, is you seem to always had this power or this talent to try to direct some people. You said from a very young age that you tell us a little bit about that.
So I think that, I think there's in every friend group, there's the one that sort of people go to sort of for advice or, opinion or even in my family, I felt like as I got older, my brother would always say, you're so wise for your years. And, I think there's some things that just come naturally to us that we don't understand why. I come from a family of really good cooks. I'm not one of them. So, who knows why or what? I also come from a family of artists. You wouldn't want me as your Pictionary, partner. So, but this was just something that always just felt very natural to me. I feel like I can really create a safe place for people and a quick connection and really hear things that aren't being said and really understand why. I think a lot of times people get very tripped up about the details of a problem instead of the symptom of a problem. I like to get to the symptom of the problem. We save a lot of time and a lot of energy.
Kill it at its roots.
Exactly.
You're
exactly.
you're a big picture person.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm having problems dating. Okay, I'm having problems dating. Well, let's look at why you're having problems dating.
Maybe because you're married.
That's always a trip up. Or maybe you're just ugly.
See, I was trying to be nice.
Maybe you're just ugly. So, was there ever an opportunity for somebody came to you for advice and you gave them what you thought was the best advice that you could give, and it turned out not so well?
Not in my coaching.
No, I'm talking about
just in general.
Prior to when your friends who came to you for advice.
Yeah, I think there are times that people really get stuck in their story and they, in some cases, like talking about the problem and aren't necessarily looking for a solution. So have there been times that I have just recognized that maybe they're not ready?
Yeah.
Maybe they're not ready to hear this, or maybe they're not ready to move on to a solution. They just are stuck in the problem, and I need to just respect that without judgment, but I can't continue talking about it.
We brought that up here before, resisting success.
Yep.
Some people just get in that rut and they get comfortable in that rut, and they just want to dwell on their problems, and that's like them being in a hole and just reaching out and pouring more dirt on themselves.
There's a lot of times when people will ask for a solution, and if they don't like the solution, I know this from personal experience, they don't like the solution that you're offering or the suggestion that you're offering them, so they resist it until you say something that they want to hear. There's a big difference between coming to somebody for advice and being open to whatever their advice is or their suggestion is, versus I want to hear this one suggestion, but it's got to come from you, and I'm going to try to get that one suggestion out of you. I know a lot of people like that. They only want to be told one way when it's not, from your perspective, how you're looking at it, it's not the way to do it. Has that ever happened to you?
In my own life, I'm very much about tell me what. I do a lot of coaching programs, and it's very positive, and let's share what everything, what each other did so well. And I always say, please share with me what I didn't do so well. That's how I'm going to grow. That's how I'm going to do better. So,
you don't work on your deficiencies. You work on you don't work on your strengths. You work on your deficiencies.
Absolutely. My belief is that's how we grow. Not everybody's ready to hear that or want such truth, but my belief is that, truth, Liz Gilbert says something that is really profound, and I will botch it up, but it's that every truth is kind, even if it makes people uncomfortable. And every untruth, or every truth, I'll get back to you on that. It's really good. And I can't get it right.
Well, you know what you need to do? You need to go to one of our sponsors, that's Grand Saloon, and have a drink. And then you will remember what Liz Gordon said.
Liz Gilbert.
We'll be sitting there after this, and Laurice is like, now I get it. Now she'll tell the bartender.
Keep rolling again.
The bottom line is that, telling the truth is kind, even if it makes people uncomfortable. Lying is unkind, even if it makes people comfortable. So it's like and I believe that. So I'm not somebody you're going to come to if you want to be lied to.
You would, thankfully you're a woman, because you would never make a good husband. Okay, because that is women, when it comes to coming out of the closet, how does this look?
Oh.
Okay, they all want to be lied to. They all want to be lied to.
So I will share with you because I have 4 sons, and I had a husband that was he was a big complimenter. And I tell the boys, if I say, like, guys, what do you think of these shoes, or what do you think? If they say fine, I tell them nobody wants to be fine. Tell me to put on another pair of shoes, or tell me that they look great. Don't ever say, and you're going to have a wife one day and possibly daughters. I promise you, they don't ever want to be fine. No, I call it the other F word. Nobody wants to be fine.
4-letter word, too.
That's right.
What I do when my wife comes out is, what does this look? I just drop my mouth, and because I don't know what to say. Because if I say you look good, you're just telling me that because you want to go. If I say you don't look good, I can't believe you're so rude. So there's no wins.
No win.
My mouth just drops.
It's a no-win situation. So I usually say, fine.
I got to go to the bathroom. That's what I say. I got to go to the bathroom. I can't deal with it. When did you start noticing that? Was it before you met Kevin that you started getting into the coaching life, or was it after Kevin?
No, it was after Kevin. It was actually I got my certification when Kevin was sick. When we thought it was Lyme disease, it was actually interesting because when we were told that Kevin had 3 to 5 years to live, after a while, and really letting that sink in, but one day I just had this thought, like, wow, I'm a mom, and I'm a wife. That's sort of how I identify myself, and my husband's going to die, and my children are going to go off to college about the same time. Who am I? Like, who am I? Who am I going to be without that title of mom or wife? And
you really had to look. You really had to do some serious introspection.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I realized that I didn't have anything that no one could take away. And when I found out about life coaching, we thought Kevin had Lyme disease at that point. And it was really a terrible time for me. I was running a business. I was taking care of 4 young kids, a sick husband, whether it was Lyme disease or ALS, and taking care of everything in the house. And I did it. I knew I needed to do it. We're pushed by pain or pulled by pleasure. And I was certainly pushed by pain. But I have to tell you that, see, this is where I really believe that the universe has your back, because it was the greatest thing that I could have done was go through life coaching school, because I had a psychology degree. I always knew I wanted to be like a therapist or helping people in some capacity. I knew it was my purpose. I knew it was what I was here to do. But I had 4 kids now. I had a husband. How was that ever going to work? But now that I was hit with tragedy, and death, and I was just like, I got to do this. Like,
was it a means to an end, figuring, okay, when Kevin passes, I have to take care of these 4 boys? Was it a life decision?
No, I had a business. I was running a business. I had
okay.
a commercial and residential cleaning business that I ran from home. And so I had a business. It wasn't a business that gave me fulfillment by any stretch.
It was a job.
It was a job. It brought the money in. It brought money in to help with bills, to give us more freedom. We were a family of 6. It was a lot to, put away money for college. It was extra money. So I had that. This was fulfillment. This was really following what I felt I was here to do.
Well, there's nothing more emotionally satisfying than being able to help someone.
Absolutely.
When you get that person when they're deep down and you get them through that and you coach them through it, to see them finally smile.
Absolutely. And you know what? I was there. I was that person who was on her knees at rock bottom. So I get it.
There was no other way you'd be a successful coach. There's no other way you'll be successful in any type of service-oriented business unless you know from
Unless
experience.
you've been there.
You've been there.
Been there, done that.
Absolutely. Right. When you come from a place of experience, it's not like, oh, I have this easy, beautiful life and I'm telling people, you can do this, you can do that. No, I was there and had to have a very, honest conversation with myself. And when asking, you're a great mom and a great wife and a great sister and friend when life was beautiful, when, you had everything. Who are you going to be when life's at rock bottom? Who are you going to be? Because that's a big question.
Are you the same person when adversity hits?
Yeah. And it's easy to be great. It's easy to be a great mom and a great wife and a great sister and a great friend and all of the things when life is easy and good. The real question, and, we really got to dig deep when life is really at rock bottom and sort of falling apart. That's the big question. Well, who are we going to be here?
When adversity hits, that's really when you show who you are.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
There are people when adversity hits, they get super angry, or if adversity hits, they just get pompous or they withdraw. That's the core of what it is. That's the core of yourself.
Well, and I knew my kids were depending on me. I mean, Kevin too, of course, but I knew that my kids needed some stability, something that they could rely on. And
you had to become their rock now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That first client that signs on with you as a life coach, it had to be a little daunting to say, okay, now it's time for me to apply what I've learned. Was it a little overwhelming?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that anytime you do something in the beginning, it's uncomfortable.